I stayed in hospital for 3 weeks, but my BF says I'm just overdramatic and it's not that serious, so my heart stopped beating for 17 seconds, and the doctors said it was a miracle I was still here. 3 weeks in a sterile hospital room, hooked to machines that beeped like a countdown to my sanity, and all I could think about was whether he'd even care. I wasn't being dramatic, I was fighting to breathe. My name is Ellie, and I'd been with Jake for 2 years when it all unraveled. We were the couple everyone envied, late-night talks, shared playlists, and dreams of a little house with a dog. But love, I learned, can blind you to cracks until they're canyons. It started with a cough that wouldn't quit, a tightness in my chest I brushed off as stress. Jake told me to stop overthinking it, so I did until I collapsed at work, gasping, my vision fading to black. The diagnosis, a rare heart condition, myocarditis, the kind of thing that makes doctors furrow their brows and order endless tests. 3 weeks in the hospital. They said, minimum. The first night, I stared at the ceiling, the IV dripping coldly into my vein. I texted Jake, expecting him to rush over, to hold my hand through the fear. His reply, you'll be fine. L, don't make it a big deal. I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the empty room. Not a big deal. My heart had literally stopped, but I clung to hope, thinking he'd show up, that he'd see the tubes and the monitors and realize this wasn't me, being dramatic. Day 2, he didn't come. Day 3, a half-hearted text. Work's crazy, babe. You got this. By day 5, I stopped waiting. The nurses became my family, their gentle voices a lifeline. There was Sarah, the night nurse, who snuck me extra Jell-O and told me about her own heart scare years ago. You're stronger than you know, she'd say, squeezing my hand. I wanted to believe her, but every unanswered text from Jake chipped away at that strength. I wasn't just fighting my body, I was fighting the sinking realization that the man I loved didn't believe me. My condition wasn't visible, no casts, no scars, just a heart that could betray me at any moment. Jake's calls grew sparse, his tone impatient. You're milking this, L, he said during one brief visit on day 10. He stood at the foot of my bed, checking his phone, while I tried not to cry. It's just a little heart thing. People deal with worse. I wanted to scream that I wasn't people, that I was terrified, that I needed him, but I didn't. I just nodded, my throat tight, and watched him leave. The hospital became my world. The beeps, the sterile smell, the way the light slanted through the blinds at dawn. I journaled to stay sane, scribbling fears I couldn't say aloud. What if I never get better? What if he's right, and I'm just weak? But then there was Dr. Chen, who sat with me one evening, explaining my condition with a patience that made me feel seen. This is real. Ellie, she said, your pain is real. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Her words were a lifeline, pulling me back from the edge of self-doubt. By week 2, I was allowed short walks down the hall. I'd shuffle past other patients' rooms, catching glimpses of families holding hands, laughing, crying together. I envied them. My only visitor was my mom, who drove 3 hours every weekend, her face etched with worry but always brightening when she saw me. You're my fighter, she'd say, brushing my hair back. Jake. He sent a single bouquet of flowers wilted by the time they arrived with a card that read, "Get well soon." I threw it in the trash. The turning point came on day 15. I had a setback, a sharp pain in my chest. Monitors blaring, nurses rushing in. They stabilized me, but the fear lingered, raw and heavy. I called Jake, sobbing, begging him to come. His response, L, I can't just drop everything. You're fine now, right? I hung up, my hands shaking. That was the moment I knew love shouldn't feel like this. Love shouldn't make you feel small, like your pain is an inconvenience. I started talking to other patients. There was Tom, an older man with lung cancer, who shared stories of his wife's unwavering support. Find someone who fights for you, he told me one afternoon in the hospital garden. Not someone who fights you. His words stuck, echoing in my head as I lay awake at night. I thought about all the times I'd apologized for being too much, for needing reassurance, for wanting Jake to care. I was done apologizing. By week 3, I was stronger not just physically, but in a way I hadn't been before. My heart was healing, slowly, but my spirit was catching up. I wrote Jake a letter, not to send, but to free myself. I poured out everything, the hurt, the loneliness, the betrayal of his dismissal. I wrote about how I deserved better, someone who'd hold my hand through the worst, not roll their eyes. Tearing it up felt like shedding a weight I'd carried too long. The day I was discharged, I stood outside the hospital, the sun warm on my face, my mom's arm around me. Jake texted, asking if I was finally done with the drama. I didn't reply. Instead, I blocked his number, my fingers steady for the first time in weeks. I wasn't just leaving the hospital, I was leaving him. My heart, scarred but beating, didn't need his validation anymore. Back home, I started small walks in the park, coffee with friends, therapy to process it all. I learned to listen to my body, to trust my pain, to value my worth. Sarah, the nurse, sent me a card. Keep fighting, Ellie. You're unstoppable. I framed it, a reminder of the strength I'd found in that sterile room. I wasn't overdramatic. I was a survivor. Life after Jake wasn't easy. There were nights I missed him, or at least the version of him I'd loved. But I also discovered peace in my own company, in rebuilding a life where I was enough. My heart condition still lingers, a quiet reminder to take care of myself. But it's also a badge of what I overcame, not just the illness, but the doubt, the dismissal, the love that wasn't love at all. What do you think? Was I right to walk away? Or should I have tried harder to make Jake understand? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. End de sourire. Yo.